I've been in this game for 50 years, and the last thing I ever thought about was having my hands in.
For years, rumors have quietly followed Sam Elliott's family, whispered online and speculated on by fans who have long admired the legendary actor's private life. Known for his unmistakable voice, rugged presence, and old-school integrity, Sam Elliott has always kept his personal world carefully guarded. But now, those long-circulating rumors have taken a new turn, because his daughter has finally spoken. This moment isn't about scandal or shock for the sake of headlines. It's about clarity, boundaries, and the emotional weight of growing up in the shadow of a Hollywood icon. For decades, assumptions were made without confirmation, stories were shaped without voices, and curiosity often crossed into intrusion. Now, with calm honesty, Sam Elliott's daughter addresses what has been misunderstood, what has been exaggerated, and what the public never truly saw. Her words don't fuel drama, they change perspective. They reveal the difference between a public image and a private reality, between what fans believe and what actually unfolds behind closed doors. This confirmation doesn't expose secrets, it restores truth. And in doing so, it reminds us how easily silence is mistaken for mystery as the rumors are finally addressed. The story becomes less about speculation and more about family, respect, and the cost of fame passed down through generations. What she confirms doesn't just it reframes an entire narrative that has lingered for years. And once you hear her side, it becomes clear why this moment matters far more than the rumors ever did. Sam Elliott has been admired as one of Hollywood's most grounded and private figures. His voice, presence, and quiet strength made him an icon. But behind the familiar mustache and steady demeanor, his personal life has remained largely shielded from public scrutiny. That privacy is exactly why rumors began to circulate quietly at first, then louder about what life was really like behind the scenes of the Elliott household. And for a long time, no one close to him spoke publicly about it that Sam Elliott's daughter grew up away from the spotlight, deliberately protected from the pressures of fame that surrounded her father. While audiences felt they knew Sam through his roles, very few knew anything about the family dynamics that shaped him off-screen. That silence created space for speculation. Fans wondered about his approach to fatherhood, his emotional availability, and how his demanding career intersected with family life. None of these rumors were explosive on their own, but together, they painted an incomplete and often misunderstood picture as Sam's career flourished, his daughter observed from a distance. She witnessed the discipline, structure, and emotional restraint that defined him not just as an actor, but as a man. To outsiders, that restraint sometimes looked like distance. Over time, small assumptions hardened into rumors, misreadings of privacy mistaken for absence, and quiet strength confused with emotional walls. What people didn't see were the deliberate choices made to protect family boundaries in a world that rarely respects them. When his daughter finally chose to speak, it wasn't to shock the public. It was to clarify. Her words didn't confirm scandal, they confirmed nuance. She acknowledged that growing up with a legendary father came with unique challenges, but also with deep respect, stability, and values that shaped her identity. The rumors, she explained, missed the human reality of balancing fame with normal family life. Her confirmation wasn't about exposing secrets. It was about correcting assumptions. She spoke about a household defined not by chaos, but by intention. Sam Elliott's presence may not have been loud or performative, but it was consistent. His lessons were taught through example rather than speeches. Discipline, humility, and respect mattered more than appearances. To the outside world, that subtlety was easy to misinterpret. To those inside the family, it was the foundation of trust. This moment of clarification matters because it reframes years of speculation. It reminds audiences that public personas rarely reflect private realities. Sam Elliott's daughter didn't deny that life had complexities every family does, but she challenged the idea that silence equals dysfunction. Sometimes silence is simply privacy. Sometimes restraint is cared by finally addressing the rumors. She offered something rare, perspective without bitterness. Her words carried maturity, balance, and understanding. She didn't seek attention or validation. Instead, she drew a line between curiosity and entitlement, reminding fans that admiration should never demand access to someone's private life. It sets the stage for understanding how rumors form, why they persist, and how easily the absence of information becomes a story of its own. And most importantly, it begins to show who Sam Elliott is when the cameras are gone, not a myth, not a mystery, but a human being navigating fame while protecting the people he loves most. As the rumors surrounding Sam Elliott's family continued to circulate, speculation grew louder and more invasive. For years, fans had filled in the blanks themselves, drawing conclusions from silence, privacy, and the actor's famously guarded personal life. When his daughter finally chose to address the rumors, it wasn't done with drama or spectacle. It came quietly, deliberately, and with emotional weight that immediately changed the tone of the conversation. What made her confirmation so powerful was not what she sensationalized, but what she clarified. The rumors had never been about scandal in the traditional sense. Instead, they revolved around distance, absence, and assumptions about family dynamics that outsiders believed they could interpret from afar. For a man as private as Sam Elliott, even small gaps in public information became fertile ground for exaggeration. His daughter's words exposed how easily privacy is mistaken for secrecy, and how silence is often misread as something to be decoded. She acknowledged that growing up in the shadow of an iconic figure was never simple. While the world saw a larger-than-life cowboy image, steady, stoic, and emotionally grounded family life was far more nuanced. The rumors, she explained, were rooted in fragments of truth but distorted by imagination. Yes, there were challenges. Yes, there were moments of emotional distance shaped by demanding schedules and public life. But the conclusions people jumped to ignored the complexity of real relationships. What she confirmed most clearly was that the story was never about neglect or estrangement, but about boundaries. Sam Elliott made conscious choices to protect his family from the spotlight, even when that meant being misunderstood. His daughter described a father who was present in intention, if not always physically available, and deeply committed to keeping family matters out of public consumption. That decision, while protective, created space for rumors to grow unchecked. The emotional core of her confirmation lay in the cost of those rumors. She spoke of how it felt to watch strangers define her relationship with her father based on speculation rather than truth. Over time, those narratives took on a life of their own, repeated so often they felt permanent. Correcting them earlier would have required inviting the public into spaces that were never meant to be shared. Remaining silent was not avoidance, it was preservation. This moment of confirmation did not aim to rewrite the past, but to restore balance. She did not portray perfection, nor did she offer denial for the sake of image. Instead, she reframed the conversation around reality. Families are layered, relationships evolve, and not every story belongs to the public. Her words challenged the assumption that fame grants access, reminding listeners that even the most recognizable figures are entitled to private lives. Fans responded differently than expected. Instead of disappointment or shock, many expressed understanding. The confirmation replaced curiosity with clarity and speculation with respect. It revealed that the most damaging rumors were not born from malice, but from entitlement, the belief that silence is an invitation rather than a boundary. In confirming the truth behind the rumors, Sam Elliott's daughter didn't just defend her father. She exposed a broader issue about how narratives are constructed around public figures and their families. The story was never as dramatic as imagined, but it was deeply human. And once the truth was spoken, the rumors lost their power, leaving behind a quieter, more honest understanding of a family that chose privacy over performance. As the rumors surrounding Sam Elliott and his daughter continued to circulate, the emotional toll became increasingly visible, not because of scandal, but because of misunderstanding. For years, speculation had filled the silence, turning privacy into mystery and restraint into suspicion. When his daughter finally addressed the whispers, it wasn't with drama or accusation, but with clarity. And that clarity changed the tone of the conversation entirely. What many failed to understand was that the rumors were never rooted in conflict or hidden controversy. They grew from absence. Sam Elliott has always guarded his private life fiercely, choosing to let his work speak louder than his family's presence in headlines. His daughter grew up largely outside the spotlight by design, and that distance became fertile ground for assumptions. In an age where visibility is often mistaken for truth, her quiet life was misread as secrecy. By finally speaking, she reframed the narrative. She confirmed that much of what had been said was exaggerated, misinterpreted, or simply false. The reality, she explained, was far more ordinary and far more meaningful. Her relationship with her father was not defined by drama, but by respect, boundaries, and shared values. Sam Elliott was not the distant figure some imagined, but a steady presence who prioritized normalcy over notoriety. This confirmation struck a chord with fans because it humanized both of them. Sam Elliott, often seen as a rugged symbol of strength and stoicism, emerged as a father who chose privacy to protect what mattered most. His daughter, in turn, revealed the weight of growing up adjacent to fame while deliberately choosing a different path. The rumors, once stripped of mystery, dissolved into something simpler. A family living quietly in a world that demands constant access. The emotional impact of her words was subtle but powerful. There was no anger in her tone, only resolution. She did not seek to correct every false detail, nor did she engage with speculation directly. Instead, she offered perspective, reminding listeners that not every unanswered question hides a secret, and not every quiet life needs explanation. In doing so, she exposed a larger truth about celebrity culture. Silence is often mistaken for guilt, when it is more often an act of care. For Sam Elliott, this moment did not redefine his legacy, it deepened it. His career has always been built on authenticity, restraint, and emotional honesty. The same principles guided his role as a father. By keeping his family life out of the spotlight, he preserved something rare in Hollywood: space. Space to grow, to choose, and to exist without constant scrutiny. As the rumors finally lost their grip, what remained was understanding. Fans began to see that the story they had been chasing was never sensational, it was simply human. A father protecting his family, a daughter choosing her own identity, and a public slowly realizing that not all truths arrive wrapped in spectacle. With shock, but with reflection. Sam Elliott's daughter didn't confirm rumors to fuel curiosity, she did it to end it. And in doing so, she reminded the world that some stories don't need drama to matter. Sometimes, the most powerful truth is the quiet one, that love, respect, and privacy can exist even in the shadow of fame. As Sam Elliott's daughter finally confirms the long-whispered rumors, the story reaches a quiet but powerful resolution, one rooted not in scandal, but in truth, protection, and understanding. What once fueled speculation now stands revealed as a deeply personal family reality, shaped by love, boundaries, and the weight of living in the shadow of a legendary name. The confirmation doesn't shatter Sam Elliott's image. Instead, it humanizes it in a way fans rarely get to see. For years, silence was mistaken for secrecy. But as his daughter makes clear, silence was never about hiding wrongdoing. It was about shielding what mattered most. Growing up with a father known worldwide for strength, grit, and moral clarity came with unique challenges. Public curiosity often ignored the emotional cost of fame on family life. The rumors thrived not because of truth, but because the family chose dignity over explanation. Her confirmation reframes everything. It reveals that much of what was speculated lacked context, empathy, and understanding. Choices made behind closed doors were rooted in care, not controversy. The truth, once spoken, feels quieter than the rumors, but far more powerful. It reminds us that not every unanswered question deserves a public response, and not every story belongs to the audience demanding it. This moment also reshapes how Sam Elliott himself is viewed. Known for portraying unwavering masculinity and honor, he lived those values privately as well. Protecting his family meant accepting misunderstanding, allowing rumors to circulate rather than exposing personal realities. That restraint required strength of a different kind, the kind that doesn't seek validation and doesn't correct every false narrative. For his daughter, speaking now is not about clearing headlines, it's about closure. It's about reclaiming agency over a story that was never meant to be public. By confirming what needed to be confirmed, she draws a line between curiosity and respect. The past no longer needs defending, and the truth no longer needs hiding. Fans may feel surprised, even emotional, but the revelation ultimately deepens respect rather than diminishes it. It shows that behind the iconic voice and cowboy silhouette was a father navigating real-world complexity with care and restraint. The rumors, once loud, fade when faced with honesty and perspective. What remains is not shock, but understanding. As a broader reminder about fame itself. Public figures do not owe the world access to their private lives, and silence is not admission. It is often an act of love. Sam Elliott's family lived that truth for years, and only now, on their own terms, has the story been gently set straight. In the end, the confirmation doesn't change who Sam Elliott is, it clarifies who he has always been. A man who valued loyalty over headlines, family over fame, and integrity over noise. And, for his daughter, speaking now is not reopening wounds, it's finally letting them rest. Some stories aren't meant to shock. They're meant to remind us that behind every legend is a family, behind every rumor is a human cost, and behind every silence is a reason.